everyone. Welcome back to another MindShift Monday. I'm Fatima Bey The MindShifter. I'm an international MindShift coach if you've never met me before. And I'm here to shift your thinking for your future success. So, every Monday I'm here at 7 p.m. Currently, I am on at 7 on. I apologize. I'm here at 7 on. Uh, yeah, 7 p.m. live every Monday. Now, uh, I'm running a series right now. I just started the series last week, so this is the second installment of the series, and it's called "You Already Know This," as you can hopefully see on the screen. You already know this. So through the series, I'm going to go through some overly used cliches. There's a lot of them. So I'm going to go over some stuff that we're used to hearing. We're mostly tired of hearing because of their misuse, overuse. Misuse and overuse. So tonight's topic is fake it till you make it. We all heard that, right? And some of you may even say it. Well, just fake it till you make it. Well, we're going to break that down on why that's true and why it's not. Um, so tonight we're going to explore why this is partially true, but also dangerously incomplete. Now, some people do properly use this phrase, some people don't. I think there are other phrases that are better, that mean the core of what this is supposed to mean. But fake it till you make it, um, is a platitude. It's become just like this cliche that we keep hearing. It's used to make people feel better. It's used to encourage people, and those are its good uses. It has a lot of dangerous uses because it's often used as an incomplete concept where there's no balance. So we're going to break down why this term is good and why it's bad, and what you need to hear the next time you hear it, what you need to be thinking next time you hear it. So we're going to close the gap. We're going to close the gap between faking it and actually making it. What a concept. So here's the truth of fake it till you make it. There's some truth to that phrase. The truth is faking it until you make it. There's power in visualization. So you are faking it because you are acting as if you have arrived there. Let me not jump ahead of myself. So you're acting as if a physical form is like a physical form of visualization. So you're acting as if I am an expert in this, not because you've arrived there, but you are acting so in order to prepare yourself. Um, what happens is mentally when you are faking it and you're working yourself into believing that you are said position or whatever it is you're trying to do. And again, nothing wrong with that, but the problem is when you just stay there. So if those of you who are watching, if you're on Riverside, I will be able to see your comments. So the other comments are supposed to show up here, but we'll see. So um, it builds a baseline of confidence so that it builds a baseline of confidence. That confidence will actually open doors for you because people start to see you in that role. Like the good fake it till you make it. Let's say it is I'm gonna I am awesome at whatever skill. I am awesome at cleaning. You might not be awesome at cleaning right now, but you keep believing you're faking it until you make it because what you're really doing is you believing yourself into actually being good at cleaning. And in a minute, we're going to tell you how you actually arrive at, what you're faking. So you start off by saying, I'm good at cleaning, even though you're not yet. That's a positive. It's positive reinforcement. You're telling your mind, you're telling your brain, you're telling your psyche that, yes, I can do this. And that's a good thing. That's a really good thing because that is where we need to start. We need to start with confidence. We need to start with knowing that, believing that we can do something. The faking it till you make it. Sometimes when people say that, that's the part that they're focusing on and talking about. They just forget to explain the rest. And that's part of the not explaining the rest is part of the problem. So embody your future self. So it's like this. Um, if you want to be an executive and you're not yet, you can start dressing, speaking, and carrying yourselves as if you're already an executive before you become one. That is a positive part of faking it till you make it. And that is a beautiful thing because you should. You want to be the next Oprah Winfrey? Well, start carrying yourself like you are. Start making sure that you conduct yourself professionally on that level. Make sure your digital representation online is on that level, or at least you're working towards it, right? You're embodying your future self. You will never arrive, and you don't just suddenly become an executive all of a sudden overnight you change into this executive persona. That's not real. But what is real is you can prepare yourself for that executive position by acting like you are in that position now. I don't, when I say acting like, I don't mean being fake, and I don't mean lying. I mean carry yourself as if I am important. I make big decisions. You're faking it until you make it in that respect. Again, this is sometimes what people mean when they say it. And this is part of where there's some truth in that statement. You should carry yourself as if you are where you're going, if that's your plan. I'm just using executive as an example because it's a really easy one for all of us to see. Now, you're mentally and physically preparing yourself for that position. And what you're also doing is you're aligning your energy with where you want to go, because you do need to align your energy with where you want to go. If you're walking around like, I want to be an executive, but every day you're thinking, oh, I'm a loser. I can't go any further than this. I'm not smart enough. I'm not good enough. Blah, blah, blah. All the other BS thoughts that yappity yap in your head. How are you going to get there? How are you creating the energy that's going to draw that truth in, that future, what you want to be true in the future in? You're not going to draw it in, and you're going to be ill prepared when you get there because you never acted like it in the first place. You still acting like you down here when your goal is to be up here. So faking it till you make it means, yes, I'm going to act like I'm an executive, not be arrogant, not put other act like I'm better than everybody else. That's not what I mean. I mean carry myself as if I hold something important. Carry myself as if they're waiting for my decision. Carry yourself as if the decisions you're going to make are huge. Start to think like an executive. We're going to get into that in a minute. So let me not run ahead of myself. The false part of that statement, fake it till you make it. Here's the false part of fake it till you make it. Faking it is like a car. It's a vehicle that can get you somewhere. It might even get you in the door. It might get you to a home, but it doesn't take you in the home. It is a car. It'll take you someplace, but it's not the fuel, and it's the car itself is not the skill to drive. I'm gonna say that again. The car itself may get you somewhere. Faking it till you make it is the car. It might get you to a home, to a building, to a destination or location, but it doesn't bring you to the front door. It doesn't do the driving for you, and it's not the gas or the fuel. All of that has to come from you. If you fake it till you make it, you create a dangerous gap between perception and your ability to actually perceived ability, let me say, your perceived ability and your actual ability. There is a large difference. So if you just keep faking it, you don't actually make it. Now you are just crazy because now you're convincing yourself of something that's not true. Your belief needs to be followed with action. And I'll get into the details of what those actions are. And the biggest part of faking it till you make it that's false, that's bad. And to me, this is the biggest part. And I think almost everybody can relate to this. It leads to the constant fear of being found out. Hello, imposter syndrome. How are you? Welcome in. That's what it does. If you stay fake, if you stay faking it till you make it, you keep acting only. You're just acting. You're not learning. You're not building skill. You're not being. You're only acting. You open the door wide for imposter syndrome and you even make room on the couch in your mind. Have a seat. Would you like something to drink? And some of you, that is why you have imposter syndrome. Not because you're incapable, but because you have been faking it so long that now it looks like you made it and you got to keep up the facade, but you didn't really learn the skill that you needed to stay. The phrase itself is an indicator. So let's break that down. You're faking it until you make it. The faking is temporary, the making it is the real work. You fake it until you make it. If you're only faking it, you're not going to make it. You're going to make it to the pedestal, but you're gonna get knocked down. You're not gonna stay there because you don't have the skill to do what it is you pretending you to do. Well, you want to be an executive? Okay, so learn what does an executive do in your field? All executives do the same thing principally, but their details are different. So what you want to be an executive of your own toilet paper company? Okay. What does an executive of a toilet paper company do? What are their focuses? What do they do? Because there's some nuances in certain industries. What does that executive do? Learn it. And you don't have to always go to official school to learn. Depending on what it is you're trying to do, some things you do, like if you want to be in the medical field, 100% you got to go to some kind of schooling. Law, want to do something with the law or law enforcement, 100% you need training. So it depends on what it is you're trying to do. So I'm going to share with you my little story of how fake it till you make it actually worked for me, and how everything I just explained is embodied in this real true life story of my own situation that I'm going to share with you. So my heirloom wedding gown story. So everybody who knows me knows, okay, I make and design wedding gowns, special occasion dresses, been doing alterations on them, I design them, I make them, been doing it for, been in the bridal industry for over 20 years. Really, actually, I have been doing it for over 20 years now. Um, Not just in the bridal industry, but sewing in particular. So it's been over 20 years. Long time I've been doing it. All right. A few years ago, I got into a specialty called heirloom wedding gowns. So, what heirloom wedding gown is, if you don't know what that is, I'll explain to you really briefly. So, an heirloom wedding gown is, let's say you want to take your mother's dress from 1985 and you want to wear that today. It doesn't fit you. It's way out of style because it's 1985 and this is 2025. So, all right, it doesn't really, fit. It doesn't go with you now and it doesn't even fit. Your mother was this big and you're my size. I can still take that gown and modify it and make it something you can wear down the aisle today that fits you, that's contemporary, that you absolutely love, right? So the first time I did my very first heirloom wedding gown, this woman, the mother of the bride, saw me on television because it was local. They did an NBC. Um, I forgot what Elaine Houston used to do it, and I forgot what name of it was, but Women something. And it was a really good program every Thursday, I think it was. So anyway, she saw me on TV and being featured, as a local business, and she's like, "Oh, I want this girl. I want her to do my daughter's wedding gown." And when she called me, she basically was really insistent that I was doing her daughter's wedding gown, which was beautiful. I absolutely loved. I love that she was so sweet. Her and her daughter were just some of the best customers I ever had. They were just really sweet people. So it was just a blessing for me. So she called me. She's like, I have my wedding gown from 1984, and I want my daughter to wear it down the aisle. And her daughter is tall and bigger, and she was this big when she got married. So I had to basically and the style that the daughter wanted was something very contemporary, but total almost opposite cut of her original wedding gown. But here's the thing. When she came to me, here's where I faked it till I made it. She came to me. It was like, "Can you do this?" Absolutely. I said with clear confidence, "I can absolutely do a wedding gown And I talked about it as if I have done them for years. Now, the truth is, I hadn't done an heirloom wedding gown before, but I was a seamstress. I was already altering wedding gowns. I was already doing dressmaking. So, and by the way, for those of you that don't know it, doing heirloom wedding gown, it requires knowing both designing and sewing. Those are two very different things, and they couldn't be more different because it requires an overlap. So, I happen to have that overlap. So, um, and at the time, yeah. So so I said, absolutely, I can do this. I can get this done for you. Now, mind you, here's the scary part about doing an heirloom wedding gown. If you screw it up, you can't replace it. The only thing you can give them is money. You cannot replace that dress. That is her mother's dress. There is sentimental value to that dress. You cannot go to a store and buy another one. It cannot be replaced. It is literally one of a kind, and especially when you're done with it. So a lot of seamstresses would find that aspect very scary because now I'm responsible for this dress. But that wasn't my mindset. My mindset was I can do this because I do have the skill and the knowledge. I do not have all of the experience. I just acted like I had. Now I didn't lie about anything, but I did have years of experience in sewing, and I was already doing gowns, so she had no reason to question me further than that. But heirloom wedding gowns in particular, I hadn't really fully done. Not fully anyway. I'd done heirloom items, but not fully. But I was still confident in my skill. And I knew I was like, I'm going to make sure this is good. Now, I didn't take on this dress without making sure that I was 100% absolutely positive that I was going to give it my absolute best and I was not going to screw up her dress. I would replace anything I screwed up. So, matter of fact, I did screw up on one part of it, and I did have to replace a piece that I did in the process. Now, she didn't know about all of the practicing I did behind the scenes, but I did. So, I want to also mention this because I think this is so important for a lot of you. Unfortunately, when it comes to sewing in America, in the USA, there was literally no class and no school that I could go to learn that exact skill. That isn't even, I wouldn't even just say wasn't, isn't available. It does not exist. So I had no choice but to learn myself how I was going to do this. I understood structure and I understood how to multi-layer things to get what I want. Y'all have no idea how much work I put into that dress. So I learned it, and I learned as I went. But what I did not do is I didn't practice on her dress. Any part that I wasn't sure about, most of it I was sure about actually, but there were parts that I wasn't sure about. I practiced on other things. I practiced certain stitches, certain seams, certain layering. I didn't practice that on her dress. I practiced it on the side, and then I made sure that I was very particular when I got to her dress. So what you're hearing is I didn't just fake it till I make it. I faked it in the beginning, but I didn't stay there. I worked really hard, really, 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 really hard on that dress, and I made sure that she was happy. She looked freaking amazing in that dress. People couldn't believe it was the same dress. They had a picture of it at the wedding, which I was invited to, but I had surgery like literally the day before, so I couldn't go. But and otherwise, I would love to have gone. Um, and people were amazed that this was the same dress. So I faked it at first in my initial meeting, but I made it because I educated myself. I practiced my skill and my ability, and I made sure that my end product was a very, very, very happy bride. And they were, her and her mother, very happy. They adamantly told me so. Matter of fact, they were kind of disappointed that they had to stop seeing me after the dress was done. Because they saw, because they, by the way, this girl lived in New York City, which is like the capital in the USA for dressmakers, but yet she was coming upstate to Clifton Park to me to do her dress. She had a dressmaker down there making her bridesmaids dresses, custom made, but she came to me for this. That I felt honored. That to me was like, wow, okay, I really want to make sure I do a good job. I'm like that anyway. If I do something, I really want to do it in excellence, the best that I can. Um, so I make sure she was happy with it, that it fit. Let me tell you something. Imposter syndrome was ruling. Why? Because I was faking it at first. I didn't have all the experience in that particular, and that's a very, 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 very particular niche, doing heirloom wedding gowns. I Imposter syndrome was ruling me. Even when I was done with the dress, I was not okay with the dress until I heard back from them after the wedding, and they're telling me how beautiful and wonderful it was, how people, even men, and men don't look at dresses or care at all. You typically, they don't comment on stuff. Even the men were like, "Wow, who did this?" She told me that if I went to the wedding, I would have felt like a famous person because they were, and that just made me feel so good. I was so happy to make them happy. That's why one of the reasons I did wedding gowns for so long. I was so happy to make them happy, but I did not feel like I did a good job until after the wedding, and the mother is calling me, explaining every. She called me to tell me how wonderful everything was, how beautiful the dress wore, how it was perfect on her, blah 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 blah. Now, mind you, she did have to come in for many fittings. I didn't just do it in one, two fittings. But that's my style anyway. I do more draping than I do measurements. That's just how I work. So the imposter syndrome was there. But what I want you to know is even though the imposter syndrome was there, I moved forward anyway. I kept giving it my all, my best. I really from the bottom of my heart, I gave it my best. And then I did get the good results. But the imposter syndrome was just loud in my ear, beating me over my head constantly. You suck. You don't know what you're doing. They're going to hate it. These are the thoughts that were going through my head. I'm just being really raw with you guys. Really raw. These were the thoughts that were going through my head, but they were wrong. I faked it at first, but then I made it because I kept building on the skill. I kept doing it and I kept working on it. And then I started specializing in heirloom wedding gowns. And then after I did the first one, I realized, oh my God, I freaking love this. I was like, oh my God, I love doing heirloom wedding gowns. Who's next? And I can tell you every single I actually remember every single, I don't remember every alteration I did all these years, but I remember every heirloom wedding gown I did. That's how much that meant to me. I loved being able to take something that means something that's so sentimental that cannot be replaced. And I get to be the one who handles it and designs it and puts it on you and makes you look like $1 million. I love that. I love being able to do that for the brides. So I said all that to say I just gave you my personal story to give you an example of how faking it till you make it works. It works when you put the work in. It doesn't work when you're faking it until you keep faking it, until you keep faking it, until you keep faking it, until you keep faking it. That don't work. then that's when your imposter syndrome is right. But here's the thing, a lot of you do have the skill and the will, you just need a chance to do it. And that was my case. I didn't know that I loved doing heirloom wedding gowns until I did it. Then I realized this is a specialty that I want to keep doing. And until I stopped sewing, I was continually doing it. Oh my God. It was just amazing. So here's the solution. So I just gave you the good and the bad, right? Of faking it till you make it, breaking down why it's true and why it's not true. Context is everything, and balance is what it's all about. It's often used without balance. So I just gave you some of the balance, but here let me give you some tips, some steps that you can write down if you want. Here's the solution for faking it till you make it. Build it till you become it. So act like an executive, but then take the classes, the courses, go online and learn on YouTube because I'm telling you, all learning is not done in the physical classroom. You can learn on your with AI and YouTube nowadays. There's almost I say almost because there's some things you do need to go to school for, but there's a lot. Let me say that there's a lot that you actually don't need to go to school for to learn. But let me also give you this balance. Don't learn three things and think you know it all. You don't. Learn and then take what you learn and do. Learn some more and do. And learn some more and do. That is how you become. You don't become by faking it and looking at a wall going, thinking about concepts and ideas. You've got to take what you are learning and do. And then while you do, learn some more. Because doing, for a lot of us, at least for me, for a lot of us, the best way for me to learn is to do. If sitting in the classroom really doesn't help me learn, I'm a hands on person. Show me how. Okay, like for biology in college, I understand a lot of the parts of the human body because of dissecting a fetal pig. I still remember to this day dissecting a fetal pig, and I actually enjoyed it not because I wanted all that blood and opening up an animal, but because I could see what they were talking about. I could put my hands on it. I could see where the dorsal aorta was. I know the difference between veins and capillaries. That's all because I put my hands on it and I could see, this is what the heart looks like, not just in pictures. I see the blood vessels that are coming from the heart, blah 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 blah, and it helped me to learn. So a lot of you are like me. I think a good portion of society is like me, actually. You learn better by doing. So if you learn better by doing, don't just learn online. Make sure you implement what you do, and don't try to overwhelm yourself and learn everything at once. That doesn't work. It's not healthy and it doesn't work. Take little bites at a time. Okay, you want to learn the stock market? Start off with this. All right, next step. If there's a whole, and you can learn the stock market so many places online. There's so many places. So paid or free. I paid ones are usually better, but I would say you get more bang for your buck if you go to a paid program. But if you have a paid program, they have like, here's 10 steps. Don't try to do all 10 steps at once, and don't even read all 10 steps. Do step one, learn it, understand it, move on to step two. Develop, develop, develop. Fake it, as in believe that you're going where you're headed, believe that you are where you want to be, but then do the activity and the actions that'll actually get you there. Those two combinations are how you get success. So, excuse me, here's the formula: build it until you become it. Act as if that's your mindset, learn as if that's your foundation, and then act on it, the action. I'm basically just summarizing what I explained for those of you that need it in shorter words. Act as if, learn as if, and then act on it. And that is how you can successfully fake it to make it. But I want to emphasize, and I just said it, don't bite off more than you can chew. That's so important because some of us have what I call superwoman or superman syndrome, and we think we just can do it all. This used to be one of my biggest hindrances. Honestly, it was a hindrance because I used to believe that, and because I'm very strong, I'm very much a visionary, and I'm very much a dreamer. So I believe in this, and it can be done, and I will act like it's done, and I will go for it, and I will get it done. However, you can't get it done all at once, and it's okay if you take steps. You have legs and not wings for a reason. I believe I can fly ain't true. You can fly on a plane. It's not true. You have legs and not wings for a reason, because you need to step into, you need to walk into. Sometimes you can run, but you need to, running is just one step at a time, it's just a little bit faster. So you need to step into that place you want to be in. You have legs, not wings, by design, for a reason. So once you have that evidence that I can do this, now you can actually start to believe it and tell imposter syndrome to shut the hell up. Because I'm telling you, for a long time, I didn't think that I was a good seamstress. Even though I was winning awards, getting noticed, people were constantly giving me good reviews, thanking me personally, sending me little gifts. It still took me a long time to accept that I am a master seamstress. Because the truth is, I can't go to school to do what I, not in America anyway. In other countries, I probably could. But in the US, I can't go to school to do to do all that I know. There's no school for that. There isn't. There's schools that teach you bits and pieces, and trust me, fashion schools, no, no, they teach a lot of stuff, but not this. Um, there isn't a school I can go to. So how else? Do I know I'm an expert? I know I'm an expert because I get results, because I can look at the results. I can see the results. Sometimes some of you need to look at the results. Am I getting results from people? How do I know I'm a good coach? When they don't need me anymore? Not just that. How do I know I'm a good coach? Because I get results. I see the difference in people. And sometimes I'm even surprised at myself at how quickly I get results for people because I don't do traditional stuff. I cut through all the BS. I get to the point for that person because I customize how I get to the point and I get results. And some of you, for whatever it is you're called to do and you're trying to do, you might have that imposter syndrome because you are thinking, "Ah, but I was faking it at first." Maybe you were, but now you're getting results. That means you've made it. You're no longer faking it. It's okay to accept that. All right. Having said all that, I thank you all for coming, and I hope that you did get something out of this. I do recommend that you rewind this because I did say a lot of things. Some of them hit you today, but if you watch it again, some of it's going to hit you tomorrow or next time you watch it because you're going to be listening differently. And there's a lot of little nuggets here that you can take and apply to your life, and I hope that you do. And if you want to know more about my coaching services or any of the other stuff I do, because I do a lot, I have an audio blog, I have a podcast, I do speaking engagements, I do workshops, etc. Go to fatimabey.com, um, FATIMABEY.com, and you'll be able to see it there. And if you want to know what other topics I'll be talking about in the next 10 weeks, because this is a 12-week series, so this is week 2, you can go to fatimabey.com/events. So just go to the menu, go to the events tab, and I have all of them listed out what I'll be talking about on what days. So you can say, hey, I want to show up on, you know, September 30th or whatever date. So take a look at that, and thank you again. I'll see you guys next week.